Hi, Maria.
How are you, Adri?
I'm sick.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've been puking my lights out today. Not so
Well,
great, but I'm here
at least.
at least, right?
Yeah. Is it that like the flu?
No, I have no idea what it is. I just woke up this morning, and my tummy was really upset. I was
Oh,
really nauseous. I don't know. I had a puke fest, and I don't know. It's just been ongoing.
oh no. That's the worst.
I know, right? I know. Um, but
So
I'm off
hopefully
tomorrow,
you
so I guess
feel
that's
better.
that's
Oh, that's
yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah,
Try to keep
yeah,
hydrated.
yeah. I'm trying, but I'm not holding much down. You know, I'm not holding much down that well,
Oh
but
no.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it together.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it
Um,
together.
Let me see. So we have two people on the lobby already.
All right.
Um, let
Um.
me know when I can admit them.
You can admit them, and we'll go 5 minutes. We'll start 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Will do.
Then we hang on. Well, yeah.
Hello. Hi, Glenn. Hi, Jomar. How are you? Can
Hi,
you hear
I'm
me?
good. What about you?
Good, thank you. We will be starting at 3:05 my time. That's AST time. EST is 2:05. Hello, thank you for joining.
Hi, afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. Adriana, are we ready to start?
Afternoon.
Yes, we are.
Great.
Alrighty. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning into our fourth session in the Technical Thursday series. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a recap of our file sync services from our last session. And we're going to take a look at some of the some of the ways that we can access our file shares. So before we begin, last time we spoke about those of us on our leaderboard, and we're coming close to the end of our series. And so, for those of us who have consistently been here, I want to highlight those who have been to all of the sessions so far. You are now on the leaderboard. And of course, at the end of our sessions, you can look out for bear excitement and prizes and surprises because you have been consistent attendees to the session. So to begin with our congratulations, we're keeping them on this leaderboard. We have Jamar. Let me see if I can give a clap to you. Wait. There we go. Jamar has been to all of our sessions. We have next Ricardo. Don't see Ricardo here today. Ricardo might be falling off the leaderboard. But Ricardo has been to all of our sessions so far. Rain as well. And of course, Glenn. So thank you guys for your consistent attendance to the sessions. I hope they are beneficial to you all. And of course, when we have the sessions, if there are any queries, any questions, anything that you want to find out, or something that sticks out to you that you would need, more support on, or you want to drill down further in a private session, you let me know, so that of course we can arrange that for you and the technical team, and we can support you in ensuring that you are able to deploy all of these services once you have secured these opportunities. So previously, we went through the Azure file sync. So we'll be doing a little recap of that. I'm going to go a little bit into accessing file shares with direct access. We're not going to do that demo today. We're going to be accessing something fun that I'm not sure many of us are aware of, but we're going to be going through accessing files from the Storage Explorer, which is a tool that Microsoft has that you can use locally to access your blob storage. Well, all of your storage accounts, your blobs, your tables, your files, your queues, from the local console. So as a recap, I have questions, but I'm not going to ask them now. We're going to see who was paying attention in our last session. Jamar and Glenn are on the hot seat because they've been at all of the sessions. So we'll see if if their memory serves them good. But for us to recap, the Azure File Sync is a way of centralizing management for your files, both on premises and in Azure, because what it does is enable the cloud storage to be used as a extension of your file share on premises that is linked to your cloud environment. So essentially, we have a console in Azure or a storage account in Azure, let us say, that you can sync your on-premises file share, just files in general, to this. And with that, you will get central management for the files because you can manage all of those files from Azure. You have local file access for the files that are actually stored in Azure as if they were on premises. And then, of course, you have the unlimited scale as your data needs grow, because the fact of the matter is, on premises, you are limited to the amount of storage that you have at a point in time until you probably procure more, or based on the specifications of your machines, you may have limitations there on how much you can store. And then, of course, when it comes to management, redundancy, and the costing of this, it can get a little tedious. And so with the Azure File Sync, you are able to optimize how your on-premises storage works. So you can offload rarely accessed files to Azure while you're keeping your hot data or the data, frequently accessed data, local. You can have that kind of archival system where the data that is, well, let's not say archive, data tiering system rather, that when you have files that are frequently accessed, you can have them basically stored locally. And then for those that are not frequently accessed, will be in Azure in the storage account. And of course, that frees up space for you on premises to use while you're keeping those files there in the cloud. They are, one, secure, two, we're giving you a method of redundancy because you can back up your Azure files. And of course, you can access your Azure files in the event that something on premises goes haywire. So with that, you can have your file tiering for the different categories of data that you're using, whether you're using them frequently or infrequently. And of course, you can start to look at reduced storage costs. You have redundancy and disaster recovery, as I mentioned before, because you can have backups on your file shares. You can have access to your file shares from, if if there's an instance where something goes wrong with your file server on premises. And of course, you can have fast file recovery from Azure in the event that something is deleted or lost on premises. Because we can centralize our management, we can consolidate how we are dealing with our files. We can consolidate our management in terms of access, who is accessing identity-based access. You can have secure access across branches. So you can use for remote locations. And of course, the access is consistent across branch offices. So you don't have to worry about inconsistent files or file sharing across the different branch offices that you may have. You can, once they are uploaded or modified from a location, it is available to all of the connected file shares. Then we have the enablement of hybrid cloud, which ties back into everything we were just mentioning. You have the ability to access your files from on-premises, from Azure as if they were on-premises. Your file shares on-prem connects to the file share in Azure, and of course, that allows you to have that seamless through access to the cloud environment. And then, of course, you can leverage the cloud scale, as we mentioned before, for your users, well, for your organization, really, to be able to have consistent growing data and not have to worry about procuring now more storage or or managing what you can actually keep or not keep because you have that cloud scale. Of course, one of the good things about the file sync as well is that you can transition from your um, on-premises file shares to Azure gradually because it copies your data into the file share on Azure. And then, of course, you can move to decommission your servers after a while if you so desire. We had spoken about Azure File Sync the last time being secured. The data itself is secured by encryption by encryption in transit and at rest. You can use access control for both connected on-premises environments and in Azure itself. The Azure by default has over 100 certification compliance certifications. Default makes your environment compliant. However, you can also use tools like Azure Defender for Cloud to ensure that all of your data and how you're storing and how you're securing this is compliant with the different industry standards based on the types of data you have and the industry that your business is in. And of course, you can also use multi-factor authentication for security here. So with role-based access
Before you continue,
control,
Adri, just to make sure
yes.
everyone can hear Adriana. Uh, Jamar, Ramon, Rory, can you hear Adriana?
Yeah, loud
Okay,
and
thank
clear.
you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Great. All right, let us continue. So with role-based access control, it gives us fine-grained access to management in Azure. And what this means is that we can actually provide to our users different sets of permissions that will enable or disable them to perform various tasks in the environment. So when you use role-based access control, you manage who has access to resources by granting users the fewest permissions or the least privilege to perform the task that they have. So if we have Jamar in our environment and Jamar is in marketing, we can ensure that with role-based access control, Jamar doesn't have um, contributor rights like Ramon to go create virtual machines in our environment or go and delete resources or go and delete data and files. We give Jamar the least amount of privileges that are needed to perform his tasks in marketing. And then, of course, when Ramon needs to modify our environment, Ramon will have the required roles applied to him, permissions and privileges applied to him, so that he can perform the tasks that are necessary. And some of the ways that we can actually access our files is through Azure files, is through on-premises file share connection. So what we did last session, where we had the files on premises, we were able to see how we create the files, how we propagate them to Azure, how we can access them from on premises as if they were from Azure as if they were on premises. You can also have, if you're environment is connected to Active Directory, you can create access control lists and so on that will determine who has access to what in your environment based off of and also you can have restrictions based on identities. You can have direct mounting, and this is where just like our letters on our file shares on premises, we can have a drive letter assigned to an Azure file share that you can then run a script on your on-premises machines, and it will assign to you a drive letter that a file share in essence that you can click on as if it were on your local machine and access the files from there. You can access it directly from the Azure portal in the browser. And of course, what I'm going to show you today is the Azure File Explorer. And it's a local storage account management tool. And what it is, it's almost like our file explorer that we have on premises, well, on our local machines. You'll see your file explorer, and from there you can search files, modify, delete, all of this from upload, download, and all of that. With the file explorer, you can have those as well. So let's take a look into our File Explorer environment. So here we have our Storage Explorer. And from our last session, as a matter of fact, let us do this a little different. Let's share a screen. From our last session, we know that we had our file sync service that had our file shares in them. So we had a sync group with a registered server, and the registered server here would have the files the files that were in the share. So let's go back to our sync groups. And from our sync group, we could see that there was a group here that we have a server endpoint, which is our file share, VM file share. So we have here our VM file share. We can see that we have a set of files in a folder. So our PC folder has an IT documents, as an IT folder that we had uploaded to Azure. So when we check this, we'll then see the document/IT folder that we just saw. We'll see the last time it was synced. And of course, from there, we can go and check on our file share itself. So let's go back here. This is where the files go to. This is the file share that is linked to this virtual machine. And we can see the copy of our files. Give it 2 shakes as it takes some time to load. Right. So we have our file services. We can browse to our storage. Let's go back here. All right, so while we wait for this to load, let's continue to go through our Storage Explorer. So Storage Explorer essentially is a way to connect our storage accounts or to view our storage accounts to from our connected environment via this local console. So how we do this, let us remove this user, for example. When we remove them, we're not able to see anything here. So we have our user one and our admin that is connected to this this Storage Explorer. So when we come here, we can select the tenants that are attached to this or just the subscription. Because we only have one subscription, we're going to select that and open Explorer. When we open the Explorer, all of the subscriptions that are available to us and the connected storage accounts that we have access to will be displayed under here. So we'll also be shown any managed disks that we have that are inside any of the resource groups here. We don't have any now, but so we'll close this for now and we'll take a look at our tech solutions file share. Can't connect to this for some reason, so let us go back. And we'll see file shares here. Having some technical issues. All right, let us check another file share. There shouldn't be any files in this. Let's check. All right, so we have our file share here. We have the files that are within this file share available to us here. We can upload files. We can actually download any of these files. We can open them from here. So let's open a file from our file share on Azure on our local machine. There we go. And so from Azure, we are able to open and utilize this slide, this document, this PowerPoint from our Storage Explorer. We can upload files or folders to our Storage Explorer from our local machine here. So for example, let us retry this. Data list of availability for Azure. We didn't choose a destination directory since we're already there. We can upload from there. And this in the background essentially uses a tool called AZ Copy, which is used to move data between storage accounts or on-premises to Azure. So you see our updated list here, Azure Availability CCR. We can go into our storage accounts. Check our file services. Having a bit of load time today, folks, so please bear with us. See if I can browse. Okay, so we're having a bit of difficulty here for some reason today. All right, unsure what is happening here, but we press on. So in a ideal world, we would be able to go to our file share on Azure, and we would see this file propagated to our Azure storage account. The next thing I want to show you is how we can connect to the Storage Explorer and show how role-based access control can give us access or deny us access to our environment. So I'm going to log in with user 3 now, who's a freshly created account. They don't have any permissions to our subscription just yet. So let us check here where we see user 3. And user 3 does not have access to our subscription. If we go to Entra ID and we check here, so you'll see user 3, which is myself in this case. Just remember, there are no assigned roles to user 3. And so user 3 should not be able to see our subscription or our storage account. So let's verify that. So once we have logged in, authenticated, you can close this tab and you can go back to your Storage Explorer. Since we are now signed in, and once we close, we will see that we don't have access to subscriptions. So if we go back here, we see there's no, we see there is no assigned roles, there is no access to subscriptions. So we see here in home, so we're not gonna have access to the resources. Versus, let us look at the other user that is here in our environment. So we have user one attached to this. So let's close off this. Close off this. Gonna connect. Sorry. Gonna open Explorer. And from here, we'll see that user one has access to the subscription and that they can see the storage accounts here. And so let's go in and verify that with our enter ID for users and user one. Has one assigned role, which is so user one is a global administrator, which means they have access to read, write, modify resources in the Azure environment. And so we see here that they'll have access to subscriptions. They'll be able to see the file shares or the file, right? So they'll be able to see the file shares under here. If they have any files in there, they'll be able to see them. So let's go to Tech Solutions, file share, and they're able to see. Let's see what's going on. We should be able to see our file shares within our environment here. If you don't have permissions, you're not able to see the file share as we see with our user three. Once you have the right permissions, you're able to do all of these, manage your files through here. And of course, you're able to see all of the files that are available to you in the Azure environment. So that is one of the key ways that we can actually utilize an easy to use tool for our environments or for our local users to be able to access their files in Azure. All right, guys, and with that, we've come to the end of our Technical Thursdays for File Shares Part 2. Do we have any queries about the ways that we can access, or is there something else that we would like to see more of? Glenn and Jamar, our two top tier scholars.
Why would I use the Explorer instead of mounting the file share?
Repeat that, please.
Why, what reason would it be to use the Explorer instead of mounting the file share?
There, I think would kind of be a matter of one, preference, and two, when you mount the file share, you mount it over, you can use SMB or NTFS. So if you mount it that way, you can have you can utilize different SMB permissions for the file share if you so desire. With the Storage Explorer, you're just accessing it based on whatever role-based access controls are in Azure itself. So if you don't have, if you want to just utilize it for someone that's not joined to like an on-premises domain or anything like that, you just want to have it there, and they have an Azure login, etc., then you can directly access the file shares from there with the Storage Explorer.
Okay, understand.
Awesome. Glenn, any questions?
No questions. Seems really straightforward.
All righty. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining today. We have one more session. Our final session will be on the 18th or the 19th. 19th.
The 19. Yeah.
Right, thanks. So on the 19th, we'll be going through an Azure Virtual Desktop deployment. Looking forward to seeing you there. And of course, keep up on our leaderboard for the prizes and surprises at the end. Thank you for your support. And I hope these sessions are continuously beneficial. Looking forward to working with you more on these types of deployments and supporting you for those. And with that, thank you guys and have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Adriana.